Welcome to Ear Biscuits, the podcast where two lifelong friends talk about life for a long time. I'm Link.
And I'm Rhett. This week at the round table of dim lighting, we are taking your questions, your comments, giving you life-changing advice that will surely set the rest of your existence on a trajectory towards goodness, prosperity.
Let's not.
But
Goodness, openness to the good things and closeness to the bad things.
or maybe some of the advice that we offer and some of the perspective that we offer in the following podcast will ruin your life. And as you know, you signed the waiver when you decided to watch this. Mm-hmm. And the waiver states that if you are taking advice from two internet boys, you've already lost.
Yep, so congratulations. You've already lost. We love it. Mm-hmm. Here in the losers circle, we are going to finally settle the great thermostat debate. If you want to leave a voicemail so that we can hear your voice and then respond to it, 1-888-EARPOD 1 is the way to do it. I'm a little sluggish. I had a late night last night.
You didn't get to bed on bedtime?
I did not get in my bed at 8:50, which I don't know what's happening to me, but like—
Hold on, that's the new bedtime? Getting into bed at 8:50? I thought the music starts playing at 9 o'clock.
Music starts playing at 9, but I like to be there when it starts. Now, I don't know what's happened that my bedtime has started shifting earlier and earlier. I've just been tired.
Is your wife already in bed at that time too?
No,
You're beating her to bed.
She's usually asleep on the couch.
Oh.
I mean, if we watch something and it's after 8 o'clock, she's on that couch, she's gonna fall asleep.
You're all out of sorts. You haven't set your phone to do not disturb.
Well, the do not disturb is on, but I think she's breaking through here. How do I just have to do that. All right.
Okay. Wait,
so I don't know why. I'm just tired. I'm going to bed. I'm getting like 9 hours of sleep now.
That's a lot.
Or I'm in bed for 9 hours, and my ring tells me that I'm actually asleep for almost 8 hours. And I think I feel a little better. I'm thinking, ain't nothing wrong with needing 9 hours of sleep.
Well, you're getting 8 though. So you need 9 in bed to get 8.
But
so
when
maybe
people
that's
say
good.
9 hours of sleep, they're talking about in bed with your eyes closed.
I don't know.
But my ring is telling me
I'm not a sleep researcher.
I
don't know. 7 to 9 is what they say. So you're still within the range.
I still don't think I'm wildly.
I'm on the 7 end, and I feel good if I get 7.
Do you get mad whenever you wake up? Whenever your alarm goes?
I have an other issue. My issue is waking up before the alarm, usually 30 to 45 minutes, maybe an hour before the alarm, and then having just not great sleep until the alarm goes off. So that's not great, but that's for another time.
The reason why I'm sluggish and had a late night way past my bedtime was because I went to a concert last night. Now, this is the middle of the week. I mean, we're recording this on a Thursday morning. So here I am on a Wednesday night going to this show. And, but I had to go. It was one of my favorite bands, Royel Otis. Royal with an E.
One of your favorite bands, huh?
Yeah. I'd never, ever heard of them.
Right, because when I asked you a moment ago, who did you see last night? You'd be like,
I couldn't remember
the name.
This morning, I can't remember who I watched.
So they made quite an impression.
Well, I mean, I had a good time.
Okay.
And so I don't,
Is it just
not being able to remember the name of the band you watched isn't necessarily a bad thing?
Is there like a king and queen theme?
No.
We're not dressed like the Burger King?
While I'm on the
is someone named Otis in the band?
I still can't tell you that.
Okay.
But it does remind me that when you talk about like a wild night of partying, Good Mythical Evening just happened. So we'll just go ahead and tell you, if you want to experience the event that was live, unfiltered, unrated, extreme, you can watch it video on demand for a limited time. So go over to goodmythicalevening.com and get that video on demand so you can experience all the wildness that was this sexy, scary, stupid. I don't know which words in what order, but it was all three of those things. So goodmythicalevening.com.
Sexy, scary, stupid. And listen, like you said, limited time. It will go away. I can't remember when it will go
Do I
away,
remember all of it?
but
No. Do I remember any of it? Yes. It was great. You should watch it. At least the parts that I remember. But back to this night last night. It's funny how it happened. So we went with two other couples, and one of the couples, the guy, he wanted to surprise his wife with tickets, and so he bought the ticket, but it was one of those things where, and then he was like, yeah, I was like, yeah, we can go. The other couple said they could go, so then he got the tickets for all of us to surprise her, but the purchase somehow was visible to her. Like, somehow she saw the tickets, and she was like, so you're going to a concert, huh? And I'm not going to throw him under the bus, but I will say he's in this our scooter club dad's group, and we have this tendency to make plans to get together without our wives a lot. Mm-hmm. So our wives have started noticing that and saying things like, well, you're really good at making plans with your boys. What about making plans with your significant other? So as a result of that, he went out of his way to surprise her with these tickets. But then she's like, I see you're going to this concert.
So she thought it was just more of the same.
And then their son was like, yeah, Dad, who are you going with? And she said, well, obviously not me, because I don't know who Royel Otis is. Oh. And then he's like, what? I thought this was he said, I thought this was your favorite band. So he was thinking it was her favorite band. She had never heard of them.
So there's some great communication in their relationship.
So all six of us go to see this band that none of us know anything about.
Maybe she thought it was Otis Redding.
Now they have.
I don't believe he's around anymore.
I mean, they had like 3 dates in LA in a row. And there was, I mean, they have a fan base.
Well, 3 in a row in LA, yeah.
Yeah, they're successful. We saw them at the Palladium, and everybody was younger than us, but not everybody was in like their late 20s or very early 30s.
It's a millennial band.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, it was a weird experience going to. I don't know, and it was like, they sing that song, you're so fucking gorgeous. You know that song?
I might if they sang it for me.
Yeah. and I was recognized a lot. I think it was that age group right there.
Okay, good.
And people kept saying, well, you're a fan? And I'm like, yeah! So it was just one of those things where I'm like, I'm just gonna lean into it and say that, I mean, am I a fan now that I've seen the show? I had a good time.
Oh, well.
I don't.
No, that's not, you didn't answer the question.
It's very.
I had a good time.
I had a good time.
You gotta have a good time at a family reunion when like your cousin performs.
Yeah.
They make you a fan of your cousin.
They were good. But I don't.
Is it
like it was
indie
like,
rock?
Yeah, it's like very
vibey.
It's very poppy rock.
All men?
It's hard. It's 2 guys.
Just 2?
And they were. It was very 90s oriented.
So like, what's the
like
percussion?
one of the guys looked like. Well, there's a drummer. There is a
band.
The group is 2 guys, but then there was also a drummer and a keyboardist.
Okay.
And I guess
what are they playing?
Bassist. One of them singing and one of them playing guitar. And the guy playing guitar looked just like Kurt Cobain.
Okay.
And he was dressed like the other guy looked like clean cut and totally different and had a higher voice. And they sounded really great together. I mean, hey, they're a legitimately successful and good band.
What's their intro-song banter like?
There's very little. What they were, they're from Australia.
Oh.
And they would tell you, wait, how? Like, that's how they talked.
Okay.
It was very percussive and quaky.
Was that Australian?
Yeah. I couldn't understand what they were saying.
Yeah. Well, that's the Palladium.
That's how they talked in between their songs.
Energetic.
but obfuscated.
Okay.
That's it. I mean,
okay.
I'm just saying it's an interesting experience. I wouldn't want to sign up for it often, but to go with a group of friends that are committed to having a good time when you don't know, you know, the band from your elbow, from your asshole, it's a lot of fun to do that. And we were on the second story watching everybody. So we definitely felt like observers.
The balcony?
Not participants. Yeah, call it a balcony. I recommend doing that once in your life. Just show up.
Did you have to, so you can sit in the balcony?
There were a few places to sit, and we the old people were sitting.
Does the Palladium have like some places to sit, and then there's like on each side of the balcony there's places to stand? Is that the place I'm thinking about?
The balcony is just flanking either side, and it doesn't go all the way around the back. And then there's a big pit in the bottom with no seats, and that's where everybody is. Okay. It's actually one of the first Streamy Awards was there. And we remembered that when we went. Anyway, it was weird. I'm a little tired. Big fan of Royel Otis.
Yeah, I hear.
If you don't know who they are, it's a lot of fun to see them. So I think that's the best endorsement I can give.
What time did you get home?
12:30.
Oh wow,
yeah. I'm hurting a little bit.
Running on fumes. Mm-hmm. For a man who would have been in bed at 8:50, getting home at 12:30 is very disruptive.
I mean, I'll do that on the weekend, so this is not crazy. It's just that I would usually be in my pajama pants at home right now.
Well, let's see if
struggling a little
bit. Ear Biscuits is brought to you by BetterHelp.
You know what? I just want to take a moment to give a shout out of thanks to my therapist. Thank you, my therapist, who I'm not going to give the name of because I want to keep that to myself.
Okay.
Along with everything that I share with my therapist. Thank you for being the type of person that I look forward to sharing things with that other people don't get to hear.
Well, that's great because this month is all about gratitude, and along with the people in our lives we like to give shout outs to, like your therapist, there's another person we don't get to think enough, ourselves.
Oh, it's sometimes hard to remind ourselves that we are trying our best to make sense of everything, and in this crazy world, that ain't easy.
Here's a reminder to send some thank yous to the people in your life, including yourself.
We're huge advocates for therapy, so if you're thinking of starting, give BetterHelp a try.
It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule.
Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/ear today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/ear.
You know, when the holidays get closer, you start thinking about all the things you want to eat. I think about all the things that I enjoy that are very bready. You got your stuffing, you got your bread pudding, you got your rolls. But I don't end up eating as much of it because it got so much bread in it.
Yeah, the holidays are better when you're not feeling guilty or worried about carbs. And with Hero Bread, you can indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love guilt-free.
Like enjoying grilled cheese with a cozy pumpkin soup, buttery Hawaiian rolls with family dinner, or French toast casserole around the holidays.
Their products are delicious and flavorful, but have 0 to 1 grams of net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, and are high in fiber.
The fluffy texture and taste of the Hawaiian rolls would make for a great stuffing this year.
It would, and you know I love my fiber. I've talked about it before. So with Hero Bread products being high in fiber, it fits super well with my lifestyle.
They also have a range of bread products, including monthly small batches of favorites like croissants. With the new surprise holiday favorites on the way.
Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order of their new recipe. Go to hero.co and use code EAR at checkout.
That's EAR at HERO.co.
Hi, my name is Claire, and I'm 21 for context. I identify as a lesbian, and this isn't so much as a question, what I'm about to say. It's more of just a comment. I just find it strange that, and I mean this genuinely when I say it, both of you are the only men I'm attracted to. I know that's a little weird to say, but literally maybe it's just because you guys share so much. I don't know. But like out of all the other celebrities or men that I've met in person, there's no one like at all that I'm attracted to that are men. So it's only you guys, and I just find that a little strange. But anyway, bye.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you. Everybody knows a lesbian is attracted to us. Well, because we just played the voicemail. I was trying to do a permutation of everybody.
Right,
knows
and
I love
you were trying to
lesbians.
sell a new t-shirt.
Yeah. Why are we so somber and silent about this?
Well,
we're very contemplative.
I don't want to say anything inappropriate. You know me.
Yeah, don't.
I want to be very calculated. First thought was, I thought this feels like familiar territory for you.
Yeah, you mean because I found myself liking, I'm straight, but I'm attracted to lesbians?
Well, no, because I think most straight men fall into that category.
Oh, okay.
Making someone a lesbian does not make them unattractive. No, I'm saying that you have been mistaken as a lesbian many times.
I don't think
that isn't something that happens to me.
I wouldn't put it that way. I haven't been mistaken as a lesbian. Like someone comes up and taps me on the shoulder and I turn around and was like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were a lesbian.
Okay, you have been called a lesbian.
The internet version of tapping someone on me on the shoulder and I turn around and, oh, I thought you were a lesbian is different.
I think than
it happening in person.
To me, the remarkable thing here, in the literal sense of remarkable, like worth remarking upon.
Remark, yeah.
Is the fact that there's a lesbian who's attracted to me. A lesbian attracted to you, I just feel like, well, of course. But of course, Grey Poupon,
Is that
I feel like that's
a
the
name
news.
For me? Grey Poupon?
Yeah.
Of the hair?
Yeah, because
I have gray hair?
Yeah, right.
I'm Grey Poupon?
Yeah. And because in the commercial, the guy says, but of course.
And so you just gave me an endearing little nickname.
Grey Poupon.
I am Grey Poupon. But of course.
So I just
you
feel
can call
like
me GP if you want.
I'm just saying that like I just wouldn't think that a lesbian would be attracted to a man with a beard. Let's just say beard. Let's just go there.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. It doesn't add up.
I can't be mistaken for a woman.
And she says it's because we share things about ourselves. And what you don't have to be a lesbian to share stuff about yourself. But I guess for a lesbian to be attracted to you, you've got to have sort of a shareable, your sharing quotient that is reaching lesbian levels. I think that's what I hear her saying. We share at the level that lesbians operate.
Or just women.
Maybe just women. That's what we do on here.
At
times.
We're in touch with our feminine side.
Well, we're in touch with ourselves and we share it as is a more feminine quality.
But I do believe that is, and I'm not talking men and women here or even male and female. I'm talking there's masculine energy qualities and feminine energy qualities that are kind of broken down, that everyone has both. Everyone has a combination of both those things. And vulnerability is often seen as a feminine quality.
So, I mean, Claire, I guess, along with all of us, are on a spectrum. So she identifies as a lesbian who likes two men. if she wants to be very specific. So you're like that's a very specific place at an end of the spectrum.
I feel like though, I just feel like, not that I'm interested in doing this for Claire and helping her find men, she's a lesbian, she's not looking for men, but I do feel like if I was given the mission of finding more men for Claire to be attracted to, I think I could do it. If the standard is men who share,
right,
and we both get into that club.
I mean, we're 46, 47 years old.
I know a lot of men who share.
And she's 21. I mean, she needs to be attracted to somebody closer to her age.
Well, she could just be attracted to women. I'm not. She doesn't need to not be a lesbian.
That's already happened. She's already.
I'm not trying to dictate anything about her love life.
You're trying to make her bi?
No, I don't. No, but is she technically bi if she's attracted to us? I don't think so.
If she's a lesbian attracted to
how many men do you have to be attracted to
become
bi?
Or not? Let's not say become bi. Let's just say
to recognize that you are
to identify as bi. To identify.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, how many? I
think a baker's dozen.
Do you start? Yeah, you start to keep a list.
It's got to be 13.
Because it's something you have to. No one can tell you. You have to decide for yourself. And apparently, you can change your mind a lot. And I think that makes sense too. You can be a lesbian one day, you can be bi the next, and you can be lesbian again the next day. Now
are you really changing your mind though, or are you just?
You're changing your mind.
In touch with something.
You're changing your mind about how you identify. You're discovering something about yourself. So your opinion about yourself that you're discovering. We're just so straight, and it's so hard to figure this out. We should be talking to somebody. I mean, Jamie, you're here. I don't know.
Well, there's something.
First of all, you identify as.
Well, I mean, I guess basically straight.
Basically straight.
There's this term.
Are there two women that you're attracted to?
I have been attracted to women in the past. I just don't think that romantically I would.
Okay.
There's this thing called hetero-flexible, which I guess is what I would be. But I was wondering if there's hetero-flexible, could there be like lesbian flexible?
You're asking us now.
Well, I just feel like that would make sense.
Dangerous.
I would think so. Because you would say you were predominantly attracted to women, but occasionally a man slips in to the attractive.
So it goes
sphere.
both ways.
I think so.
So your point is bi.
Well, because there's also
you're making a bi point about.
Well, there's also
being lesbian.
There's also pansexual, so that's more like attracted to like minds. So that might be in the realm that she's in. So it's like the body parts don't matter.
She's attracted to us and women.
Yes.
Right,
so,
but
very specific.
But she didn't. To be clear, she did not say I'm attracted to you, and then she began to describe physical characteristics. She described emotional characteristics.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
and so it's our beautiful minds, Link, that she's attracted to.
Okay, yeah, maybe you're lesbian with a dash of pan.
And I'm just saying, I bet you I can find 11 more men that Claire could be attracted to. I'm not interested in doing that. I'm just saying if I was tasked with it.
Yeah, if you were being paid.
If I was being paid.
If Claire, if you want to pay us.
To find you 11 more men who love to share.
We're going to provide are we prepared to provide a service of determining where the people are on a sexual spectrum? Is that a service we need to provide?
No, we definitely do not.
You send us money and
you don't send us any money for that. We're not starting a GoFundMe for that.
Then we tell you where you are on the sexual orientation spectrum.
But I will say, Claire, I think you are more evolved and mature than I am personally. Because I feel like, first of all, yes, I understand and do agree that it isn't just physical attraction that makes somebody attractive. Just because somebody's hot, as soon as they might open their mouth and start revealing the contents of their mind, and immediately I'm no longer attracted to them.
Yeah.
That's happened plenty of times. So the mind is ultimately more important, but the initial thing most of the time is the physical, right? For me, that's what I'm saying. And so this is why I don't think I've ever been attracted to a man. regardless of his mind.
I don't think I've ever been attracted to a man.
Even Jude Law.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be anyway. The accent.
I'm just saying, think of a man. For me, it's think of a
A
man
little intimidating.
who, with a wig, could be a woman, like a pretty man.
Yes.
I'm
okay.
saying that if I had to start trying to be attracted to men, I would start with pretty men. You know what I'm saying?
What are we doing?
I'm just saying I wouldn't start with The Rock.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got to start with a pretty man, a man that with long hair from a distance could be a woman because I'm attracted to women, is what I'm saying. And again, I'm not trying to be attracted to men, but if I were tasked, i.e. paid to be attracted to men,
Well,
if I was
paid
paid,
ourselves.
if
It's
I was
our
paid
company.
enough, you could pay me enough. I could find a baker's dozen men I could get attracted to.
I could get attracted to.
But they would have to be very womanly. That's all I'm saying. At this point, maybe I will evolve.
But you need to start thinking more about the mind. You need to start.
Yeah, you're
you
right.
need to be
You're
thinking
right.
more
You're-
pan.
Well, I think, first of all, I think that is why I have been married to Jessie for 24 years. You know what I'm saying?
Because her mind is also attractive.
Right, because you've got to be attracted to the whole person to be in a relationship for that long.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm very attracted to the whole person of my wife, the person of my wife.
But there is something to, focusing on the mind part first. And then if you focus on the mind a whole lot, then you start to think that everything around it is just like facial hair and dangling body parts. So it's like,
Then it becomes a distraction.
right.
The
So-
body becomes a distraction, like a Gnostic.
Or it's just a,
Well, this is Love is Blind is what you're talking
it's
about.
whatever it is.
You're talking about Love is Blind, which
Is that
Jessie has roped me into.
so? So you don't know the gender that the person identifies as?
No, that's not what we said.
That's what I'm asking.
You can talk to them. You hear their voice.
Okay.
So it's one side is women,
So it's
and
not
one
love
side
is
is
death.
men. Okay, and they go into these pods, and you talk to each other through a wall. You can hear each other perfectly. You're sitting in a room that has a wall. You cannot see the person.
Yeah.
And you make the decision to get engaged without ever seeing a person, and then you see them once you have made a decision to get married.
Are there people who identified as straight that then went with the same sex,
No, but while I was watching this the other night, so
or vice versa?
this is season 7, I think, is
Yeah.
out right now. And this is, I've watched a little bit from time to time, but this season, I have watched like 3 episodes with Jessie, and I have to admit, I got roped in. I'm in now. I don't want her to watch it without me.
What's so good about it?
Well, it struck me that I had given up on reality TV because I had given up on trashy reality TV. Love Island and Love is Blind are in 2 completely different categories. Love Island is a bunch of early 20-year-old people who are just hot
Okay.
and frankly, as about as shallow as people get in modern society, okay? And they're just there for the hookups. Love is
These
Blind.
people are not. They're not pan-oriented. They're not about the mind.
We don't have to necessarily bring that in yet, but I'll get there. Love is Blind is generally, although there is one dude who's not a good dude,
But
I won't say anything about that, but
you're saying that
they're more mature.
the format
and they
is more
actually
tasteful.
they want love. It's not trashy. It may
Okay.
be a questionable social experiment that I would not advise a friend to subject themselves to,
Okay. Yeah.
but it's great television, and I actually find myself liking the people and wanting the best for them.
Okay.
Not just being entertained
You're not-
by their fickleness.
You're not gawking. You're invested.
Yeah. And it's better than The Bachelor in that regard, because The Bachelor is like the middle of the road.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's some legitimately like good people that you want the best for, and then there's people who are just there to get attention on television.
So reality TV has its own spectrum.
Spectrum. Everything is a spectrum.
Everything is a spectrum.
But while I was watching it the other day, because a specific thing happened in one of the episodes, and it was, you're sitting there with all the dudes, and the dudes are talking about the women that they are developing connections with, and they've all got notebooks. They all journal because you're talking to the person, and you have to like take notes,
keep track.
And so then what happens, and this is really the genius of the show, is that two guys will reveal that their number one is the same girl. And so now she's got two guys who are really connecting with her. And I leaned over to Jesse at that moment and I was like, well, how many seasons is it gonna take before the two guys or the two girls that are having connection with the guy, vice versa, decide that they just wanna do a threesome? And or a throuple. Threesome is just about sex. A throuple is a three-way relationship. So what would the producers do if there was a dude who was like, well, we're both making a connection with this one girl. Can we talk to the producers about a throuple? That would get the ratings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, it did cross my mind that in that context, that could be a solution, but that would be somebody who could be attracted to both sexes.
But there hasn't been anybody who has been a little more fluid in their taste. So that
no, but there is a guy who is fluid in his gender expression, I guess you could say. Okay. Now, all the guys are pretty just like masculine dudes, but there is one guy that has like one dangly earring. You know,
whoa!
He's got like one dangly earring and a bit of a weird haircut, and he's like all the rest of the dudes kind of dress the same. They dress like like they went to Banana Republic or J. Crew or whatever. And then this guy is like a little bit stylish and has the dangly earring, and talks with he's a little more feminine in the way he expresses himself and the way he moves. Okay. And he, to his credit, thought that it was necessary to communicate that because you can't see the person. And some women may not be into that. Some women may want a lumberjack only, lumberjackonly.com.
How did he do that?
I just don't know if that's a website. I can't remember exactly how he put it, but he just was like, yeah, I'm not exactly your quintessential like masculine man or whatever. But the other interesting thing that happens, I didn't plan on talking about Love is Blind, but the other thing that happens is some people are hesitant to share their race, and some people feel that they're obligated to share their race. And then sometimes people can like pick up on their a race by just listening to somebody, but sometimes people don't present in that way. And then like there were two couples that did not know the race of each other until they met.
But if they wanted to know, they could have asked.
Yeah, but they also were like, it doesn't matter what race you are. They made that clear, but I just found that it really was about the mind is what I'm saying. It wasn't about like that's kind of what's beautiful about the show is it really tests someone's ability to hold themselves to this standard because, there's questions about body type, body size, and whether or not you're going to reveal that, well, I'm a little bit bigger than the average person or whatever, and do I need to say that? And how am I going to bring that up in conversation in a way that doesn't turn somebody off if they might be turned off by it? It's a fascinating like psychological study of people. That's why I keep going back.
Okay. But you haven't learned enough to really tell Claire. I mean, that's not really the point of the show.
Well, Claire could go on Love is Blind, is what I'm saying. And
okay.
But it would have to be lesbian Love is Blind. Man, this is not gonna work because Claire probably wouldn't go on regular Love is Blind. Claire would go on lesbian Love is Blind, but there would be two guys.
And it would be
us. Yeah, it's a society special. All
right, hey, Claire, we're flattered, and we talked way too long.
We did. I'm sorry
on something that we are just really confused
Unqualified. We learn as we talk.
Yep. How much we don't know.
Right.
Wow, I really didn't know a lot about that based on what I said. Let's take another one.
Hi, Rhett Link. My name's Caleb from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I love listening to the advice you give to the voicemails you receive, so I figured I'd see if you can help provide an answer to a disagreement I have with my wife. It's the thermostat.
Yep.
When it's cold outside, I prefer to set the heat to 68. When it's hot, I'd set the AC to 78. Meanwhile, my wife wants our indoor temperature to have a more narrow range year-round, something like 72 heat in the winter, 74 cool in the summer. I agree with her that 72, 74 is really comfortable, and I would prefer that too if it were not for the financial impact of keeping those temps. Two other details. We have a smart thermostat, which can adjust when we aren't home, but I'm looking for an answer for when we are both home.
Mm-hmm.
And second, we keep 2 pet snakes, so we have to keep reasonable limits.
Oh, God.
So, have you ever had disagreements over the thermostat with your wives? And what is the optimal temperature to keep the thermostat during the summer and during the winter? Really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Whatever we say, and it's going to be gold, needs to be printed and put in the packaging with every thermostat. I just think that...
Well, it seems like you have a very strong informed opinion.
I'm just really hoping that we can solve this, because that's what I said at the beginning, and here we are talking about it. Do I have that answer? I thought you'd have the answer. I have part of the answer, I feel like. I think we can arrive at it.
I definitely relate. Can I just say that I relate? And
This is
basically,
it's tough. It's a big problem.
Not down to the specific numbers, because Jesse doesn't really work with specific numbers. You know, it's more of a vibe and feeling kind of thing. It's turn it up or turn it down. Mm-hmm. And then there's a whole discussion about what does that mean. But let's get back to that.
You got to say make it hotter, make it cold.
And we have a Nest Smart thermostat.
Yeah, so do we.
Which I recently switched both of my Nest thermostats off of auto learn, because it was learning things that it was learning in a way that it did not help me.
That's kind of the whole point of it.
I was just like, I'm gonna schedule this, and so it happens exactly the same way.
That's what we did too, I guess, yeah. No learning.
But in general, my philosophy is wider temperature range, and Jesse's is narrower temperature range. And I feel like I can make a strong multi-level defense for a wider temperature range.
Now,
before we decide on specific temperatures.
Yes. Okay. Does she like it colder than you? Like Christy likes it colder than me, but it's been hot. But then when it gets cold, she doesn't like it as warm as me. So I prefer it warmer than her.
Okay, so that's more complicated than me, because I relate to the caller in that when it's cold, she wants it to be warmer, and when it's hot, she wants it to be colder. Now, what we both agree on, to set this aside, and this is where the scheduling really comes in, is sleep temperature. I have to have it below 70 degrees to get a good night's sleep.
That's how Christy is. She has to have it. It's like an ice box in our bedroom.
And this is scientifically proven. This is where all these companies, we haven't had a sponsor yet, we should probably get one that will like cool your mattress, which is probably a more efficient way to do it, because you're cooling just the thing that you're using versus cooling the whole house in order to make your bedroom a certain temperature.
Yeah.
If you don't have like...
Yeah, we're fortunate to have a thermostat just for our bedroom, because it's in such a separate part of the house.
Well, it's basically the whole top floor of the house.
Yeah, it has its own unit and everything.
So that makes it a little more efficient for you. And that's not the way our house works, because the thermostat for upstairs, which is where all the bedrooms are, is in the hallway, which is connected to the living room, which is open to the top floor. And so...
Yeah, that's tough.
You have to set, like, in order to get it to be cool enough inside, I'm heating or cooling way too much of the house.
The great thing about my bedroom is another thing, besides it having its own dedicated unit, is that the thermostat is right beside my bed. I can, at the place where you would reach up and turn your bedside lamp off.
That's too tempting.
I can reach up without even sitting up in bed, basically, and I can turn my thermostat. Now I can also use the app on my phone. This was added before.
I can use Google.
I know. Yeah, you can.
I can just say I want it 2 degrees warmer or colder. You can do that too, probably.
I can do that too, but I'm saying that I still reach up there and just turn it, because it's easier than talking when somebody's sleeping or pulling out an app. And I think that was a brilliant move by whoever did that at my house before I moved in.
But
and the temperature is red right there where I'm sleeping.
And so you want it, so let's set aside that there's too many variables here. The general idea of the wider temperature range, I think there are at least two reasons I can think of why the wider temperature range is better. The first is the energy efficiency. It's the amount of money you're spending.
Right.
And if you've got one of these smart thermostats, it begins telling you if you're like being a good environmentalist or not.
Right.
Because it puts a little green
so
leaf up there.
On that point, before you get to the second one, the question is, should you feel a little bit outside of your absolutely ideal comfort zone for this to know that you're at least getting some efficiency? Like if you feel completely comfortable all the time, you're not giving up a little for Mother Earth.
Now,
maybe that's something you need to feel a little bit.
If we have a breakthrough in fusion and we have unlimited power, then I think that this argument goes away. But currently, energy efficiency remains an important, if not one of the more important elements of your life in terms of impact, you know?
Yeah.
So
what's the second one?
The second point is, I think that you want the interior of your home to reflect the exterior of the seasons to a degree and so there's multiple points to this reason.
Oh.
And the first is you're dressed differently to begin with.
Right. It's colder, it's sweater weather. You don't want to come in the house and have to shed that sweater. And that's what to me, I feel like there's an answer in the fact that like, if somebody wants it colder, you can always put on more clothes. And they can be comfy clothes. So I defer to the person who wants it colder because you can do something about your own self.
Right.
To bundle up.
It's more difficult on the other end of the spectrum. 78 is pretty warm. But I'll say during the day, during the summer, I try to operate around 76 is where I try to set it. And Jesse's always complaining that it's too hot.
Oh, really?
She wants 74. She wants what this woman wants.
Yeah. Christy wants this. I think she wants the same. Yeah, 74.
Oh, the women want 74.
Yeah.
But why do they want their showers so hot?
I don't know. Why do you want a shower?
Does your wife
maybe kill the bacteria?
Take a shower in lava? Like my wife does?
Yes. Hottest. She goes real hot.
What is it about them? Why do they want to be so hot in the shower?
Hormones, man. Huh. They like to talk about hormones. And I like to nod my head when they do. Mm-hmm. I've given up in a lot of ways. As long as it's cold, I can throw on clothes and then we don't have to get in an argument. I've given up. That is my revelation. Spoiler alert. Just give up. Give up on the environment. Give up on being comfortable unless you put on more clothes.
There is a rubric here to arrive at a perfect decision. You might think that you simply take the average of the temperature suggested. So in this case, if she's 72, 74, and you're 68 and 74, whatever that is, it's going to be like 71 and 76. Taking the averages between those two, right?
Split the difference. Nobody's happy.
But
if mama ain't happy,
well,
ain't nobody happy.
Let's be careful before we say that.
Well, I already said it. It's just a saying.
Is there one side of the temperature range that affects one side of the relationship more significantly? And also, to your point, the lower temperature range can be rectified through clothing in a way that the upper temperature range cannot above a certain degree.
Right. I mean, if I got my way, Chris would be walking around the house wearing, can you refresh the ice pack that's on the back of my neck, in between my butt cheeks or whatever, wherever she needs to cool? I don't,
well, how cold does she want it in the house?
I mean, I think she would go 64 if she could.
What?
I mean, she would.
64 during...
At night? Definitely.
Oh. Well,
But during the day too, yeah. I get home, I'm like, why is it so damn cold in here?
do you know what
I get home and have to put on more clothes.
my low temperature range at night during the winter is? The temperature at which the heat will come on at night.
66.
55.
55.
I like it to get.
Whoa, you really do have an ice box.
I'm saying
What?
I'm in
Your covers.
because what happens is
Yeah, but your nose is freezing off.
no. 55 isn't 45.
No, but that's
And
How do you get it that
this
cold?
only happens when California gets very cold. There's very, very few nights in which if your house starts in the 60s, it's gonna get into the low 50s. It's when it's like 30 degrees at night outside.
okay.
The reason I like it is because I am more likely to stay asleep if I let it continue. If the heat comes on, starts warming it back up, I wake up.
Mm.
And so I'm willing to go real cold at night. We've got a comforter.
But in the summer you don't set the AC to cool it to that.
No,
Of course.
I set it to 70. And sometimes I push it into, I'll go as low as 68. But if it's really hot outside and it's gonna have to work really hard to get to 68, I feel bad about it. So.
Right. So what are we landing on here? You're saying take your temperature, yours is 68 to 78 and hers is an inner range, and then you're going in between those two. That's the equitable thing to do. I'm saying you can take one, whoever wants it colder, whoever is cold can take it for the team, and maybe you go by seasons. You know, it's
I think this is a perfect application for artificial intelligence. Now, let me premise this by saying that I'm so glad I hope I was wrong about AI this year, right? I thought by the time we were making this podcast, because I bought into the hype at the beginning of the year about how fast it was progressing.
But since then, you changed your mind, and you also said you didn't want to talk about it anymore, and here we are.
Well, but what I have found is that there are certain applications in which it is incredibly helpful. Like I had when I made the barbecue for my birthday party, when I smoked the pork shoulder, I didn't tell you about this, but during the night, the grill got clogged, the wood pellets, something happened to the wood pellets, and at some point of indeterminate time, it stopped cooking the pork.
Oh.
So when I woke up, I went outside and I was like, oh shit, this 22-pound pork shoulder stopped cooking at some point in the night. Am I gonna have to throw this whole thing out? And so I did a number of things about like testing the temperature, the internal temperature. What I ended up doing is I described in detail to ChatGPT the scenario, the size of the size of the pork shoulder, when I put it on, the temperature I was gonna cook it to, what happened during the night, when people were coming over, the temperature, the current internal temperature. And then I asked it a bunch of questions about what were the risks in terms of food poisoning for these people that I was about to feed.
Okay.
And I learned a whole lot. Like I learned that there are multiple types of bacteria that begin to grow in a certain zone of temperature range, and you wanna minimize the time in the quote unquote danger zone. But I also thought, well, I'm gonna cook this thing to like 210 degrees because it's pulled pork. Isn't that going to kill everything? And ChatGPT said, well, it's gonna kill any active bacteria, but any spores that are produced as the bacteria is multiplying are heat resistant and will not be killed by 210 degrees. And if people eat enough of those, it'll reactivate in their system and they can get food poisoning. And then I was asking about what types of bacteria it was, who's at risk, what are the, and I was like, I don't want you to give me the USDA bullshit, over the top, super safe thing. I want you to give me real risk. Like, am I moderate? And I spoke to this thing. I got it back up to temperature, but then I started asking questions. I was getting kind of nervous. I didn't want to talk to Jesse about it because Jesse would be like, throw it out. You can't poison our friends.
Right.
And after a long talk with ChatGPT, we determined that it was a very minimal risk for anyone to get sick from the pork.
Oh.
Did you get sick?
Yeah. The next morning I didn't feel good.
That's
no,
not
just
true.
kidding.
That's not
Just kidding.
So anyway, while ChatGPT and other large language models can be a little bit confused by math, and sometimes you have to check the math, it's very good at putting multiple parameters in, so you can sit down and you can be like, this is what's important to me, and this is what's important to her, and this is the range that I like, and this is the range that we like. These are the things that matter in this equation, and to what degree, and you put it all in there, and it will give you probably some choices, and you see which one you resonate with the most. It's like having a really smart friend who can think really quickly.
I mean, is it going to tell him to maybe split up? I want to tell y'all to split up.
Probably not.
I mean, don't split up, just bundle up. That's what I'm saying. You know, you figure out a compromise, and then bundle up.
So if you don't want to do what
my
I
idea.
said, I agree with Link. Make a different range, and then you have to make adjustments on the lower end of the range with your clothing choices.
Yep.
And get a nice blanket.
Oh, blankets.
Maybe a Snuggie.
Yeah, wearable blanket. That'll do
Join
it.
the Mythical Society last year, and you would have gotten a wearable blanket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, hit us.
Hey, y'all. This is Estrella calling from Santa Barbara, California. I just wanted to revisit the episode where y'all talked about the slapping endeavor, new organization company, for that guy who was getting married soon, blah, blah, blah. He wanted to get up early. I was screaming at the phone when y'all were trying to identify somebody scary in 2024 who could potentially be the slapper.
Yeah.
My idea of the scariest person, which I was screaming at y'all while I was listening to the podcast, is Chef Gordon Ramsay. I think he would be the perfect person. Maybe not so much for the slapping, but he is definitely the scariest and most respectable person in 2024. And afterwards, maybe he could throw in a free breakfast.
Whoa.
Love y'all. Thanks.
Love you too. All right. First of all, just to refresh
Yeah.
our memories, we're talking about a service where you pay someone to show up and slap you awake.
Yeah.
As like a fail-safe to your alarm.
And I suggested something like that Scared Straight show where the person, like a military type person, comes up and throws you into a van, but this would just be someone who comes and slaps you. I thought someone who looked like Sergeant Slaughter, famous wrestler from the 80s, could be that person. And then ask the question, who's the Sergeant Slaughter of 2024? And apparently it's Gordon Ramsay.
So the answer to who is the American military wrestling icon of present day, and it's a British chef.
Yeah, hey, that's what the world has come to, man.
Yep. But he's got to use an American accent. When because he's dressed up in the American military garb.
Oh, well, I didn't necessarily think we had to stick with that thing.
I think we are.
Because I think he, as an icon in and of himself, in the chef outfit,
Gordon Slaughter.
is very scary.
Oh.
And now we've met him, and he's very kind in person.
Yeah, but
he is intimidating.
The gravitas oozes out.
He
of
is
him.
intimidating. I would not want to make him upset.
Yeah, but I would want to eat his breakfast. I like that.
But let me just tell you, Gordon Ramsay is endlessly successful. To get that man to show up at your house to slap you and or cook breakfast, he ain't gonna move for less than $350K.
That's right. You might be talking
maybe $500,000,
and that's probably just for one morning of slaps. I mean,
yeah, right.
How many times is he going to show up? It might be a day's worth of slaps if you're falling asleep during the day.
He's too busy to do a week.
He can wake you up out of a nap once, but
you have to go. Maybe you go and you stay at wherever he is.
Yeah, you got to go to him to wake up.
And then, right. So you got to take a trip.
Remote slaps?
Oh, so like a haptic slap.
Yep.
Haptic slap machine.
Yeah.
This is where we should have started this whole thing.
There's somebody on the other end of the video chat.
We could be slapping people.
So it's basically you have FaceTime on your phone, but on either side of the phone you've attached these two hands. Then
we need to work on the prototype.
So you hold the phone up to your face.
I don't think it's a hand. I think it is a mask that's just on one side of your face, and you sleep with it.
You can just stick it to your face.
It's stuck. It's electrodes,
Yeah.
And we mimic the feeling of a slap through electricity.
Yep. And we could measure celebrities' slaps. We could like get that data, and then you could be slapped by anybody that's in the system. Snoop Dogg, Shaq, they'll both be in there. We know that. Gordon Ramsay might be in there. So like, what kind of slap are you getting? Who's
Celebrity slap.
gets slapped by a celebrity? I mean, you don't even have to be asleep, I guess.
Slap-lebrity.
Yep.
It's a service where you get a mask, and that's your alarm clock, is having the shit slapped out of your face by a celebrity.
Yeah.
Of your choosing.
Mm-hmm. And you know it's what it would feel like to be slapped by that person.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
This is it. We've cracked the code.
Yeah. Do you want to get slapped by Kat Von D? Well, that's going to be different now that I think that she's converted.
She'll still slap you.
She'll still slap you?
She'll just slap you in the name of Jesus.
I mean, I think that the professional slap people, I think this is now a form of training for them.
This is like when the porn stars like sell, like molded body parts.
Yeah.
This is
which I still don't know exactly how
the equivalent.
That's done.
I haven't never seen the process. I don't know.
Are
if
they
it's
pouring?
A scan.
Are they pouring molten?
It's probably plaster.
Liquid.
It's probably plaster. You can
inside of a woman.
All you need is
or around the man's member.
Well, you could easily do that with a man's member.
Yeah. It's heat resistant.
It's not hot. It's just plaster that hardens. It's
yeah. But are you filling up the
cavity?
Yeah, with plaster?
No, you're not.
It's an infrared scan?
No, it's not. It's the thing that you're buying is you're buying a labia that looks like the labia that you like from the internet.
Okay, so
the inside is probably a series of options. It's not like we're putting plaster in a vagina. No, nobody's doing that.
Well, I feel a little let down.
But we are putting a penis in plaster,
It's so easy to do that.
So, because by that rationale, we could actually sell a silicone hand.
I just want it to be a flat.
But the problem with
Band-Aid
that is there's too much in that. We're not going to sell those units. They're too expensive.
You're on the right track, but we've made it affordable through licensing.
And I think you can probably do this on your own with a TENS unit, but you probably shouldn't put a TENS unit on your face.
Without some sort of physical therapist supervising the thing. And then you're back to square one. You're paying for them to be there.
So anyway, that's I don't think Gordon is the answer. I think Slap-lebrity is the answer.
What? We'll take another?
Let's take one more.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, I am from Virginia, and I am majoring in biology, and I want to get my master's in evolutionary biology. And my dilemma here is that my grandmother wants to help me pay for my master's, but she will not help me pay for it if it's evolutionary biology. So, because she's really religious, that's why. So, is there a way I can get around that? I don't know, maybe I get a master's in something else, or maybe I just lie, which I'd like to not do. So yeah, is there a recommendation on how to get around that? There's no convincing her that evolution is a thing, so I just want to rule that out. So yeah, from some ex-Christians, as an ex-Christian, this is that is my dilemma. Let me know.
Wow.
Interesting. Is it okay to lie to your grandma in order to get that money for tuition?
Okay, well, before we answer that question specifically, I don't know your specific financial situation, so I don't know if it is the case that if she does not pay that this is going to be, like, is it life-altering whether or not you get this paid for by her? Like, and is she your only source? Let's just assume that that's what we're dealing with.
Let's assume so.
And so I would call this a desperate situation, and desperate times call for desperate measures.
Oh.
I don't want you to have to not study evolutionary biology because I'm envious of the fact that you get to study it. I wish I could have.
Yeah, you don't want to change your major for somebody else.
If you are passionate about this, I would say stick to your guns.
Of course, that's what we did, though. We went to engineering school instead of film school to get funding, basically.
Yeah, this is graduate, though. This is a different, I feel like this is a little bit different because I feel like if you're...
It's so specialized in what you want to do with
It's
your life.
sending you in a very specific direction, and it is going to take some time, but it's not going to take 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. There is okay, I'm trying to talk about this in a way that is not offensive to people who don't believe in evolution. I at one time thought that evolution was a lie.
And you wouldn't have given money to somebody to study it. And
No.
right? Yeah.
Right.
So we totally relate to that. We know that this is common.
So I think there's a soft strategy and there's a hard strategy. And I mean in terms of how deceptive it is. Okay. I think the soft strategy is something along the lines of, listen, Grandma, you might be right. You might be right that evolutionary biology or evolution is a lie. It is of the devil, and it has been used to take people away from God. But how am I going to ever know how to combat it, to talk about it, if I don't know what they're teaching? So maybe you're right, but the only way I can find that out is by studying it. And that this may also require some sort of compromise, like, hey, listen, if it would help you if I would also like read a series of books or watch a series of videos from Answers in Genesis, or if we would go to the Creation Museum in Kentucky, we could literally sit down and listen to Ken Ham do one of his addresses, his daily addresses. If you would like to do that, I'll do that with you. Kentucky's not that far from Virginia. Maybe there are some ways to basically present this as an investigation versus a brainwashing. That's the soft strategy.
Okay.
I have a hard strategy as well.
Let's hear it. I'm trying to come up with a third way.
In the hard strategy, which is explicitly deceptive, and this is going to be, you're going to have to just explore your own heart. Again, I'm trying to say this in a way that isn't offensive, but it's going to be difficult. Your grandmother already believes a lie. Your grandmother believes that evolution didn't happen. Your grandmother believes a bunch of blatant misinformation that has been propagated by the Christian church to protect their belief structure. A bunch of misinformation that flies in the face of all the evidence that you're probably already familiar with and are about to become much more familiar with. So, what's one more lie gonna hurt?
She seems to be into him. But taking somebody's money that's been earmarked in a certain way and using it another way, I don't know.
Hey,
From your grandma.
that's why I think I suggest the soft strategy.
I'm going to suggest an exploration in a reallocation of funds. So there's some way to get her to invest in your future in specific ways that she's okay with, that aren't evolution related. So it's like I'll pay for, I mean, and maybe there's aspects of just like
You have other needs, basically.
like there's other needs. Like you say, can you help me with my housing? And like you have an itemized list of things that she can improve. It's like, yes, I want to invest in your future in these ways. I'm going to get the degree that I want to get because I'm my own person. And I respect that you don't want to invest in that directly. But you want to invest in me. So let's find a compromise. Let's find ways that we can that you can feel good about it and I can benefit from it. And then you're paying for the stuff she doesn't want. I mean, practically it's the same, but like I think in her mind, it's like she could have a win. It's like she's not specifically investing in something.
And you could get pretty strategic.
You know what I'm saying?
You could get pretty strategic about this because
it could even be a different
account. You could get into when you break down the expenses for school, you have. I mean, again, it's graduate school, so it's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah,
but you've got expenses that are not related to this thing that you're learning. Obviously, there's books and there's classes that you're paying for. But if it's everything outside of that education, and maybe you can even sit down and be like, and listen, this thing I have to take, say it has nothing to do with evolution. I don't know. So you could really, really break it down. That's probably the healthiest way to do it. But I think that there could be a combination of the hard strategy of just straight up lying to somebody. Don't do that. But the idea that you would have a discussion and be like, are there ways that you could feel comfortable helping me? Are there things that we could do in order to make you more comfortable? You know, I do think saying something along the lines of, you know, this is something that people teach. You may disagree with it, but it's such a powerful philosophy that has changed the world so much. Can I also be learning something that you approve of at the same time, and I can kind of compare notes? It's like that's not going to be a hard thing for somebody studying this to do.
As a evolutionary biologist with a master's degree, I think it would be my brain just stopped. I tell you, I had a late night last night.
Wow. I saw the look on it's like all of a sudden your eyes relaxed a little bit.
I am so.
As an evolutionary biologist with a master's degree.
Wow, you just witnessed an override.
People will be studying that for years.
It's an evolutionary response to seeing a band that I didn't know.
Were you going to say that this is something that
it's nice,
is noble to pursue?
Not noble. I think it would be interesting to see what a study of like this whole anti-evolution thing. Like, getting even.
We need people
who know both sides.
We need people in the field,
right,
to continue to combat all of the false information that these religious organizations spew about this really important topic.
But your grandma ain't gonna invest in that.
No,
but I like her. Like, if you're making a commitment to look into that worldview or to stay acquainted with it, that might sweeten the deal. I think it's just sweetening the deal. But it's like, hey, you want to invest in my future, but you don't want to control my future. You love me too much for that. I want to benefit from your love and investment, but I don't want to lie to you in order to receive it. I love you too much for that. So presenting it a way that she can feel good about the specifics, I think there's an answer there. And it's very similar to the thermostat thing, you know? It may not be, you're not gonna get it in exactly the way you want, but you might get it another way, and you might have to wear a few more clothes.
But what if that doesn't work? And this is the only source of financing. At what point?
You might look into getting a master's degree in something that is just one more over, and then you could
start somewhere else and then switch.
It's just one. It's one step removed Like how far away you got to go for her to invest.
No, that ain't how it works.
And then you're just adding a few classes to get double master's degree.
Well, there may be a strategy in that. If this is your only hope, I don't know, man. I don't know what your relationship is like. Because listen, I agree. Honesty is the best policy. But like I said, when someone is operating out of a place where the reason that they think the thing that they think is because they are believing.
People do that all the time. I mean,
lie.
it's not, I mean, lobbyists all the time. You know, you just can't take money from somebody under false pretenses.
Okay, well, what if somebody was lobbying for the tobacco industry? Like, I'm sure there's people like lobbying for like vaping and stuff now.
Okay, yeah.
And trying to convince people that vaping is better than cigarettes or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've got money and you want to get a degree in whatever, some medical thing related to lungs.
Okay, yeah.
And they think that you're doing it under a certain pretense, but you're actually doing it to take them down. That's not your grandma. It's not your the grandma of it all is what makes it very complicated. But I'm saying in terms of the ideology, I don't have any problem with deceiving someone who's operating under a certain ideology if I think that ideology is bad for the world and I think that me telling this lie will actually contribute to that ideology being brought down. But on an individual level, that's very different. On a corporate societal level, I don't know. I think you got to be a little bit shrewd as a serpent, as Jesus himself said.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
All right, so I you know, it's for you to decide. I mean, Rhett's trying to crack that door open for you, so it's yours to walk through if you exhaust the other options. But yeah, we're leaving this one a little loosey-goosey. I do have a rec on our way out. I've been listening to
Royel Otis.
Okay.
Yeah,
Royel Otis with an E instead of an A. You know?
Oh.
If you're younger
Royel.
than me, Royel, R-O-Y-E-L.
Oh. Royel.
Royel. I don't know. My recommendation is The Wonder of Stevie, which is a Stevie Wonder podcast it's produced by Amazon, but you don't have to listen to it on Amazon Audible. It's also on Spotify, so it's probably anywhere you can get your podcast. It goes through his amazing 5-album run, and it just kind of tells you, a little bit about each of those albums and the cultural context, and it's very, very well done.
Limited series?
Limited series.
I like limited series.
The Wonder of Stevie. Check it out if you want a primer on the genius that is Stevie Wonder and how he fits into just culture and why he's the icon that he is.
Thank you.
I'm loving it.
Thank you for sticking with us, for sending in your questions. Keep sending them in. 1-888-EARPOD1. Don't forget to tell your friends about Ear Biscuits. Don't forget to review and rate the podcast wherever you enjoy it. It really, really helps.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Riley from Athens, Georgia. Go Dogs. And I just listened to the episode where y'all were like, you said you were tired of talking about yourself, so I'll just tell you about me. My name's Riley. We covered that. I am a senior in college. I'm a psychology and communication studies double major. I'm in a sorority. I just got out of my hot yoga class. I'm addicted to this lifestyle of drinking twice a week and hanging out with my friends 24/7. There's never a dull moment. I don't know what I'm going to do after college, but the way y'all talk about LA ensures that I will not be moving there. Any whoosies, thanks for listening to whoever listened, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.